Hey, it's Cash. I've been seeing a lot of people struggling with Warlock and wanted to toss a quick build your way. After testing Warlock on a pre-launch version, and now live, I do believe this is straight the fastest leveling build from 1 to 70. Now, this video won't be anything fancy, but it should give you what you need to get things moving. Now, to get things going, when you're leveling, you're obviously not going to have the perfect aspects, the perfect stats, but what you want to look out for is movement speed and attack speed on your boots and on your neck, and then attack speed anywhere offensive things can go. That is always my ideal go-to, and it does help the Warlock quite a bit. Now, that means you want to look out for tempering too. With this new expansion, you can also temper attack speed onto your weapon, and that can be a really big boost early. But you want to try to always look out for movement speed, temper movement speed, and go from there. Moving on to the actual build itself, we'll start with the Soul Shard. We're going to go Mastermind the Shadow because Lawlish, as a summon and a Greater Demon, is one of the best ones. In terms of your off choices, I personally prefer Lawlish just getting the 100 times damage increase. He actually does quite a bit, even though he's not particularly our main source of damage. Our main source of damage is Rampage here, which we'll get to in a second. But this one here is also viable. It basically just turns all of your damage into Rampage rather than relying on Lawlish. But Lawlish is always kind of going to be around, and when he's activated, he does quite a bit of damage. So it's a nice passive damage income, especially because there'll be times when we won't have enough dominance to have a Rampage out. It's rare, but it will happen. Now, going to our skills here, we're going to go Command Fallen. If you're just starting out brand new level 1, you'll start Command Fallen, and then you'll start with Dread Claws. Dread Claws will be our main source of vulnerable for a while, at least until we get down here. And I think this is like level 8, 6, something like that. But until we can actually get to Rampage and then unlock this, all these things here, mainly just this one. But once we can get here, then we'll drop Dread Claws. For now, though, we'll go Dread Claws, we'll get here. Come down here. As soon as you can get Nether Step, you want to get Nether Step, and I wanted to show something real quick with that. When you use it, you don't get any movement speed, but watch when I come out. When you come out, you're extremely fast. So if you just want the movement speed, then just cast it and cancel it and zoom. But we take the Gloomwalker modifier here. So it can kind of be used like a Blood Mist Necromancer, where you go immune, just kind of go around. And it lasts 3 seconds. That's a long time. So it depends on what you want. Just movement speed, cast it, cancel it, go. If you want the actual immunity or don't care, just hit it and travel down the way. Go back up here. The first moment you can get dominance, and later on, I have damage per demon here. That increases your Command Fallen damage, but when you're brand new, you're gonna want Wrath, because it'll give you Wrath generation, and then you can spam Dread Claws. Until you can get down here and turn Command Fallen into an Abyss skill, you're gonna go with Mega Lunatic. Now, I prefer not to go with the automated Command Fallen, because Command Fallen actually does a lot of damage. And when you have the automated, you can see here, they just come out one at a time, and then it's kind of like a passive thing where they're just out, they're actual summons, they're minions. But Command Fallen is something you can spam when it's not the Abyss version, and that's really important early. Now, as soon as we can get Rampage and we can turn it into Abyss, the gameplay changes entirely. That's when the build really picks up, and it won't take long, and since you get a level every few minutes when you're leveling early, it really won't be long at all. The build from level 1 to whatever this is, whatever gives you Rampage, it's a little slow, but that's going to be like 20-30 minutes, maybe an hour. I doubt it. But once you do get Rampage, you don't want to have Command Fallen as an active. You want it as a passive. You also want Dread Claws as a passive. And the reason is, when you cast Rampage, you see it becomes an active skill, and you're going to keep spamming it. There's no time to be rooting anything else in. And that's the same reason why we have a few other couple passive skills here, which you put them out, and then you just kind of let them go, and you just spam Rampage. That's what makes it so quick. And also, the active on Rampage does a ton a ton of damage. I will say in terms of single target, not the greatest, but it really doesn't matter where you're leveling. Basically, all you're going to want is AoE to deal with elite packs, and when you come to a boss, the boss is going to die, but it's not going to destroy you in any way. Come down here, we get Sigil of Subversion. Sigil of Subversion applies Hex. Hex just passively increases shadow damage, or abyss damage. But the big one here is the modifiers on it. Sigil of Subversion gives you a lot of movement speed. It also gives you shadow form. So in an opener, since we've gone over 3 skills now, in an opener, it would be Sigil of Subversion. You get the Hex rolling, you get your Command Fallen going, you get the Rampage going, you summon a Roll Lash, and then you just start spamming Rampage. And that brings us down to our ultimate. Going with Terror Swarm here, and mind you, at this point I have a pretty good amount of hours in Warlock because of all the testing I've been able to do. Thank you so much. We don't go with Abaddon here, even though he does more damage, because when you do your recast on him, it's actually quite slow, and it's just not so good. So instead, we go with Terror Swarm here. Terror Swarm, you just throw it out, and it puts a little circle on the ground, and this thing actually does pretty good damage, and it's nice that you don't have to worry about it. You can recast it to move it, but you don't have to worry about it. You just have to let it do its thing, and because of that, you can just spam Rampage. And we take some modifiers here. Make it do a little bit more damage. It pulls things in, but really it's just a cast and forget. This build is quite simple. It's kind of just mash your buttons on the keyboard and destroy things. And in terms of the rest of the build, that's pretty much it. There are some aspects you can find. Basically what you're looking for is anything that increases your damage, a good damage multiplier. General leveling builds recommend putting on your amulet. I would just throw it on a two-hander because I don't care, and I'll just throw it on there, but it is more expensive. Defensively, any kind of survival, you're really not going to get that many legendary aspects while you level up. Number one, it's reduced. Number one, you're leveling. And to be honest, it makes legendaries feel a little bit more exciting when they do drop. Once you complete the campaign, you'll get a ring. This ring is actually pretty solid from 1 to 70, because when you get hit, it lets go a big dot, and you'll really notice when that dot goes out. So I would recommend keeping this ring until you are level 70. Now, in terms of this thing pushing to the end game, I did try to push it as I could in the pre-test version. It has a cap. It's definitely not the best leveling or endgame build. It can go to about a T90, T100 in terms of the pit, but there are other Warlock builds that are significantly stronger, at least in testing. They might have buffed things. Now, if you get really lucky, or if you just want to keep playing this build, there is a unique to look out for. I don't remember the name of it, but I believe it's a ring, and it increases Rampage's damage. That's kind of the core of this build, but there's another version of this build that's just better. But that is the idea. If you want to carry this into the end game, or if you want to just keep playing with it while you do your Paragons or whatever, it does have that possibility. It starts to have problems once you get into the very, very high tiers. Probably like Torment 10. Going into 11 is when you'll start to slow down a little bit, or start to notice that, hey, maybe it's time to move on. I tried it a bunch of different ways. T90, T100 seems to be the spot where it goes, but it is perfectly possible, especially if you're just a casual player who's coming home and playing, and you like the build, how it plays, you pretty much solid the rest of the time. I would recommend, however, and I am so sorry for the camera location, if you carry this into the end game, you want to switch off the low lash 100 times damage multiplier and switch it over to just abyss damage, especially if you get the unique ring, because Rampage, as you get more and more geared, you get your multipliers, your legendary aspects, Rampage really takes over, and Lawlash is just kind of chilling. There is a little bit of a small tip with this build, or a little trick. If you cast Lawlash on yourself, you'll get Shadow Form. That's really good for when you're getting targeted by an elite that just will not go away no matter what you do. He just wants you. You can pop into that. Don't attack or anything. because once you're in shadow form, you can see here, you're stealth, and things will straight not come for you. It's really good at repositioning. However, at least in testing, elite abilities, particularly the sword, you'll see it eventually, but there's a sword that hovers above you and it'll target you and it'll slam down. Things like that were tracking me in shadow form stealth. So while you are in shadow form, that doesn't mean like, oh, I'm good to go. It probably should, but it doesn't. If you're in shadow form, be wary of ground effects or anything that tracks you, any kind of enemy affix that tracks you. But other than that, I think we've got 4 endgame builds up right now total, and they're all tested and certified, T100 certified. So that's all for now. Like I said, I'll post the guide with a link in the description as soon as we actually get everything done. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like and subscribe, and I'm going to try to start streaming, but if not, I'll get you guys things out as I can. I do have some endgame builds that, like I said, good to go, T100 certified, if not higher. Some of them were going T20, T30. Those are up right now. All the guides on Icy Veins, all the endgame guides are tested and certified. Unless Blizzard knows something and I didn't see it. But otherwise, hey, thanks for checking it out, and I hope this makes Warlock a little bit better for you. Bye. Another big or decent damage source. Oh, fuck, I gotta sneeze.